It's 1:30. We're going to call the Cumberland County Finance meeting to order. Could we start with a roll call, please?
Commissioner Nieder,
Here.
Commissioner Bocci,
I'm here.
Commissioner Eichelberger.
All right. Next up is public comment. And do we have some folks online, Lauren?
We do, and the individual just raised their hand, so I will.
Okay. If you'd like to call on them, and then we can take questions from in the room.
Hello.
Hello.
Yes, I can hear you. Perfect. My name is Joseph Ferrante, 721 Mount Rock Road, Carlisle. While I am not a fan of the proposed increase to the millage rate, I do understand the limited time and options available to solve the current $7 million gap in the budget. I have listened to the discussion, and I know that there are cost-saving measures being pursued. However, as you are asking the residents to increase their tax burden, I think that it is only fair that the commissioners commit to a similar budget reduction target, a tangible number that we can look to judge progress against, and something that can be used to show the county's commitment to fiscal responsibility. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Joseph. Is there anyone in the room that would like to make a public comment? All right. We will move through the agenda and starting with the minutes of the February 7th meeting 2024. I will move to approve the minutes.
Second.
It's moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right. The next topic of discussion. Discussion and approval of resolution 24-5. Dana and Tammy.
Yes, we are requesting the amendment of the 2024 budget. And the amendment is a change to the millage of 15%. This increase would increase revenues by $8,755,652. It will impact the average homeowner with an assessed value of about $220,000 by an additional $73 annual, or for a total tax bill of about $560. In addition to this amendment, the county departments are also looking at additional ways to save expenses and or raise revenues. The commissioners are meeting with every department to discuss their budget, their operations, and additional ways to decrease expenses or raise revenues. And we also have the new grant administrator who is on week 3, and she is doing an excellent job at getting familiar with our operations and departments, and she will be looking at potential ways to fund programs that we are already doing in the future through other revenue sources and grant.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
As a matter of process, Keith, should we do these independently?
Do them independently, yes, in the order that they appear in the agenda.
Okay. Did anyone want to make a comment at this time on item number 1? I'm gonna make a comment because I listened to Mr. Ferrante's comment, and I have received emails from constituents, and I've had phone conversations with constituents about this particular matter, about increasing the millage rate on county property tax in Cumberland County. This is not an easy thing to do. And it's heartbreaking in some ways. And one of the ways that I see this as really being heartbreaking is that the county is mandated by the state to deliver human services. Mandated by the state to deliver human services. And I think sometimes when I use the word mandate, people kind of glaze over. The state tells us what human services to deliver. Say, county, go deliver it. And they will not assist us financially in that delivery. When there's a $3 million budget deficit in mental health funding, I've had conversations with constituents who are incredibly concerned by this tax increase. And I talk about, okay, so what service am I going to cut? Am I going to cut the service for the people that need mental health care? Am I going to cut the service for that woman who came to us and said, if I don't have county-based mental health care, I don't have a job, I don't have friends, I don't have a home, I don't have anything. What am I supposed to do? And then I listen to people who tell me on the phone, I cannot afford this tax increase. And they're not blowing smoke at me. They can't afford it. And so I know that Commissioner Nieder and I have directed people to other services, but at the end of the day, I don't want people to not have a home because of a county property tax increase, and I will lay that firmly on the state. If older people cannot stay in their homes because they've paid taxes all of their lives to the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, and they pay them right now, and the state will not deliver those funds to a county that is growing tremendously, there is tremendous need for services, and the state is not keeping up with their end of the bargain on, we're gonna help you pay for those, we're gonna provide the funds for those. And mental health is the tip of the iceberg on this, because we have challenges in children and youth with children with complex behavior issues. We have a juvenile probation issue where we don't have a place to put juveniles that are in the system. We have a problem at public safety where we don't have enough money to operate public safety. I've said this before, I'm gonna say it again. Commissioner Nieder pointed out to me, the state says, you have to answer the 911 phone in a matter of seconds. If you don't answer it in a matter of seconds, we take all of your funding. The state takes all of the funding. So what happens if we can't fund 911? What happens when that same senior citizen who's in a home that they can barely afford needs to call 911 and we've cut the service? It's a huge quagmire. It's a circular quagmire, and everything affects each other. But at the end of the day, we need the state to step up on this. We need the legislature to step up on this. I know the governor's put out a new budget, and I'm still not over the sting of last year's budget, where it was late. It was really late. Really late. It created issues here, and we lobbied for more mental health funding. CCAP lobbied for more mental health funding. Other counties lobbied for more mental health funding, and we're getting $20 million, right? $20 million in that budget across 67 counties. It's not enough. It's not enough to undo 12 or 13 years of mental health flat funding. This is very hard for me. I'm not happy about it. It's very hard for me. It's not lost on me that this is a tremendous issue for residents of this county. And I think some of this goes back to, what do we want government to do? Government provides services. So if we want government services, we have to pay for them somehow. If we're going to have mental health, we have to pay for it somehow. If we're going to have a 911 system, we have to pay for it somehow. And that's where I'm at with this, but this is a heartbreaker for me.
Jean, and I will piggyback on that only slightly to say that we have had some communication in addition to Mr. Ferrante, but I will correct his comment that it's not a $7 million deficit. We are looking at a $20 million budget deficit, and the outcry that I've received mostly has been, we need to cut expenses. And I want to be very, very clear. We are cutting expenses. This millage rate does not make it whole for us. We still have a tremendous amount of work to do. We are engaging with the employees, and I have been extremely pleased with their willingness and what they're coming to the table with for us to look at. I would love to be able to commit to a definitive number that we will reduce in our expenses. It's a challenge to do when we don't know exactly what our funding is in many instances. So this is a situation that unfortunately has been masked with the very generous federal ARPA money that we received. We are using $14 million that remain from that money to plug this gap. And that will have its consequences of its own. Last year, we were able to earn $5 million in interest because we had such an abundance of funding available to us that helped plug some gaps. And as we spend that down, that certainly won't happen. But there has been misinformation that we are not cutting expenses, that in fact we are. There's been misinformation that this is all because of the result of massive employee increases, and that is absolutely false. The employees are pitching in and doing very much their part In addition to, they're looking for ways to save. And in addition to, we had unfortunately had to restrict bonuses for the year, which many employees have supported. And I'm sorry if folks viewed that as an entitlement, it is not. Employees are also helping to cover some expenses with their healthcare costs. So they are pitching in and doing all that they can as well to try and help in this situation that we find ourselves in. It's been very, very unfortunate. I have appreciated the very respectful engagement that I've received via email, via phone with the constituents. We don't minimize the difficulty that it is to raise taxes. Is there anything else? Take a vote on the first item.
Gonna, do we need to move, did we do the motion?
Nope, sorry, you're right.
That's all right. I will move to approve resolution 2024-5, adjusting the 2024 amended budget. Adopting the 2024 amended budget. Sorry, Dana.
Is there a second? I will second that. It's moved and seconded. All in favor say aye.
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 No.
Suppose. The next item is a discussion and approval of the ordinance 24-1. Dana, is there anything additional to add to
I
this?
don't have anything additional.
Okay.
You want me to talk about the actual millage rate?
Yes, would you please?
So this is changing the current millage is 2.195. So the new millage will be 2.154. I didn't write it down. Of course, that's the 1 quarter. 2.524. And again, page 15%.
Gary, I have to say I'm disturbed by your lack of support for this. This is not an issue that was created overnight, and I know that you had suggested at one time that we should do nothing for 2 years, and in fact work on a recovery plan. And I believe that I feel very strongly that is a governmental response to do nothing and wait. And we don't have that luxury of time. This has been kicked down the road over a 10-year period of not raising taxes. One of the folks that emailed to me said, you know, if it were a little bit, I understand, but to take a drastic increase as 15% is to them is more difficult. So a reluctance to address this over the prior 10-year period, and to say now that we have to focus on cutting expenses that were not addressed over a prior 10-year period is disturbing. I'll be very candid. And I wish that you were willing to support being fiscally responsible for the county, and we are taking corrective action now in a way that has not been done before. We're reviewing financials in a way that has never been done before, has not been done for a long period of time. And you're not offering solutions to this problem that we are trying to fix. So it's very disheartening.
Sure, I will move to approve ordinance 2024-1, amending ordinance 2023-3 with respect to the 2024 real estate tax millage rate.
I will second that. Any discussion? It's moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you.
Thank you.
Is there any other business to come before the board at this time?
I don't have any.
Is there none? Motion for done?
I will move to adjourn.
We are adjourned.